Welcome to day 4 of The Woman Who Creates Time. I'm Rachel Evans. I am the CEO and founder of the Workshop Whisperer and The Real Rachel. And I have a signature method called Sort Your Shit Out, which is my online coaching program, which basically helps you connect the dots between business and household and life when you're a woman in business who is often also a mum and a partner, and sometimes not a partner, sometimes not a mum, but definitely in business. It might be pets or plants that you look after. Or you might be solo, but it's business and being the feminine energy that we have in common. And it's my experience in growing multi-million dollar businesses and then teaching others how to do the same that brings us together today. And I'm showing up with you for the next 30 days. So it's a very busy time of year. Today is December 14. And it doesn't really matter when in the year you come across this video. It matters that you give yourself the time to watch it, and I trust that you'll enjoy all 30 of them. But what we're doing here is showing that if something's important enough, you will create the time to change the habit or create the habit. And potentially, when we get really good at it, you'll get so much clearer on what it is that you want and who it is that you are becoming and indeed that you want to be, so that time actually gets collapsed and you arrive as her, this person, that this version of you that you can clearly see much sooner. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video. Let's really get this thing off the ground. And today we're going to talk about an aspect of money that was the most important change or trigger, if you like, in my mindset that led me from being able to generate money, but there never being quite enough, or being able to generate money, but that money not staying with me, to, only 8 years later, and really just about 5.5 years of absolute out of this world wealth building. So I've basically gone from there not being enough to the exact opposite of that in a very short space of time. When you think about just how long I've been in the workforce, how long I've been in charge of earning my own money. So what we're talking about is the stories that we have surrounding money, and it's one of those big killers of success for women who are out in business on their own, even for women who are in business with their significant other or another business partner. And the reason it's a killer is because we often don't recognize that how we think about money, or in some cases, what we don't even think about money, is sabotaging our relationship with it and ultimately the result that we have with it. So I grew up in a middle-class home. My amazing parents, my dad was a police officer and my mum was a hairdresser. She worked for someone for the majority of her career, but for the last 20 or so years of her working career, she has been self-employed. She's actually mostly retired, but she still has a couple of those clients who she just does not want to let down, she says. And of course, being a hairdresser, she loves a chat. So she is out there still cutting hair one day a week, or one day a month rather, at the age of 72. So she did end up in self-employment, but my dad was a police officer, so employed for his career. And we had a very middle-class upbringing, one special family holiday once a year or every second year, one family car for all of my childhood. It was only really once mum became self-employed that there was two cars, and a very middle class life. Was unaware if money was a huge challenge to come by for mum and dad. I think mum was very good at managing money. My dad is actually the entrepreneurial thinker. Lots of grand ideas about little side hustles, and he actually worked incredibly hard as well during our childhood. A police officer didn't pay that much money back in the day, so him and his police officer mates often had second jobs, whether that was unloading trucks or chopping down trees or working security. Back then you could do. So there was a need for more money, definitely, but we certainly weren't poor. Were there things that we didn't have, maybe because there was not a oversupply of money? Probably, but we really didn't notice. So coming into my adulthood, I certainly hadn't had an experience of being poor, but I had dreamt about, as in had visions of what it would be like to have an oversupply of money since I was a little girl. And one of my first memories of realizing that there were families with more was when I got picked up by a school friend one day to go out with her family for the day. And her dad owned an engineering company. Didn't know what that was when I was like 9, but he was driving a car very different to that of the parents of my other friends. He turned up in a Range Rover. So back in the 80s, Range Rovers really stood out, as I think they do today still. But back then, I remember hopping in it and thinking, wow, what is this? This is amazing. And that kind of stuck with me all through my childhood, so much so that I clearly remember it today. And it was the feeling of luxury is what I recognize it as. And that friend's home was luxurious too. It was on the side of a cliff that overlooked the beach. It was clearly very different to all of the other homes. And I think that was really my first eye-opening experience of what more was actually out there. And it formed part of the visioning that I did, or the dreaming, the daydreaming that I did moving forward. And it's just always been part of anything that I thought I could achieve, was just more than a middle class life, more than being in a situation where I had to be an employee and my salary was determined by somebody else and I had to work the hours that somebody else told me I had to work. I knew that wasn't going to be my forever. So the money stories that I had to overcome in order to be successful actually weren't that negative. But when you're in a partnership with someone else, and let's talk about life partnership to start with, if their negative money stories overpower yours, then you've got work to do in order to be able to achieve financial success. So that's really what we're talking about today, because there'll be some people that watch this video who aren't interested at all, or their own money story tells them that it's not money that makes you happy. Well, it's not money per se that makes you happy, but I can tell you that money certainly contributes to the things that you can do and have that happiness is a part of. So if you're one of those people that isn't interested in making more money in any way, shape or form, I'm totally okay with that. This just means that this video isn't for you and I'm not for you. But I love being in business. I love the game of business. I love the strategizing to constantly improve myself and my business. And I love that by helping people grow a better business and ultimately living a better life, I receive remuneration for that in kind. And that remuneration is my tangible reward for doing good in the world. And it has helped me help so many more thousands of people than I possibly could have thought I could do even 10 years ago. So I had to overcome the negative money stories of somebody else in order to get to the place where I could grow wealth. And most money stories are subconscious and not the direct intention of the person who has them. And that's why we always need to be compassionate when we discover that either our business partner or our life partner, or even the people closest to you who are seemingly giving you advice about money, we have to be careful when discussing whether or not money stories are at play with them, because if people aren't into self-development and are lacking awareness around their negative money stories, they're just going to hate on you further if you try to make them aware of it. So we're a product of what we listen to in our own childhood homes when it comes to money stories. So the classic ones, of course, are money doesn't grow on trees. It's probably one of the biggest ones that we hear coming into my coaching businesses. The old money doesn't grow on trees is what they heard from their families. Well, if you plant enough of the right trees, I can guarantee that money does grow on them. Let me tell you. But there's also things like, if I earn too much, I'll stand out and then people won't like me anymore. And unfortunately, that one can be true in some cases, but it's no reason to give yourself an energetic money ceiling. That is the other person's problem. It is not yours. Anyone that has you believe that you shouldn't stand out because of your success is the one with the money story. If you believe them, then you buy into their money story and you take it on for yourself. Women can sometimes be coerced into believing that they should allow their husband to be the breadwinner. That's energetically how it's supposed to work. There's no actual rule for that. Your family dynamic when it comes to money earning is only the business of the people inside your family dynamic. And sometimes we have husbands or partners in the relationship whose skills mean they get paid X amount for those skills in the marketplace. And sometimes the remuneration for that might be less than the female in the relationship who has a different set of skills and gets remunerated differently for those skills. Should the female earn less because the male's skills are worth less in the market? I don't think so. But believing that is buying into a money story. And if you're in business, it can severely hamper the way you treat money in your business. So all we need is a little bit of awareness around whether money stories are at play. And if you believe your money stories are actually quite healthy, you're not afraid of money, you actually love money, you're not hoarding money. If you hoard money thinking that you must save money, that's the only thing that will make you feel safe, that in itself is a money story that we need to work on. And the reason that we would need to work on a money story like that is because spiritually, money is an energy and it flows. It flows to you. It can flow away from you because your money stories can repel it. Money actually wants to have structure and it wants to do good in the world. So people that think they have to save money, they might be termed, in Australia, we might call them a tight ass, pardon my French. People that only do that forego enjoyable experiences because they might not want to hand over some of their hoarded money or go without basics because they're afraid to spend money. Eventually, the universe is not going to send any more money, or things are going to start costing an extraordinary amount of money for the basics, and that money will flow out and not replenish. So we don't want to hoard money, but we don't want to just throw it around all over the place either. And that's often what happens, and you've probably noticed it, where you do have the ability to generate good income through your business, but it seems to flow away from you just as quickly. So you might have a great month, but then the next 2 months, you pay it all out again and it's gone. And it becomes a feast or famine situation. When you give your money some structure, and by structure, I mean you can't have all of your business money operating through one bank account. That's basically what it comes down to. Money loves order. Money hates an unstructured, messy storage vessel. So if your purse or wallet or handbag is full of old receipts, if it's full of all kinds of crap, basically, that's not the kind of order money likes. And if you're only operating out of one bank account and all your income comes into that and you pay wages, supplier bills, salaries, everything out of there, that's an unstructured money system. That's why in Sort Your Shit Out, my online program that you can do at your own pace, I have an entire module devoted to setting up the structure you need for your money. So if you're new in the world of woo-woo, this might sound like complete madness to you, that money is an energy and it loves structure and it loves to do good in the world. But you've only got to get your head into one or two audio books or physical books about the energy of money and the spirituality around money to start to really understand what I'm talking about. And if you're not ready to do that yet, then you'll still be okay doing module 4 in my Sort Your Shit Out program. But what we're looking to do is set up a series of structured accounts, first of all, for your business accounts, because we want the income coming into just one account, but then we want to take care of tax and your salary and your operating expenses and profit when the income comes in. We don't want to leave anything to chance. We're going to make sure that we've got the money for everything and it's all ordered and structured. And when money needs to go out to pay bills, it's there. Because when you've got everything coming into one account, you're doing mental arithmetic all the time trying to figure out if there's going to be enough. Where a little preparation and a little structure around your money, a little intention and loving your money actually puts all the right energy and the right vibes out there for you to be sent more because you're looking after it. You're paying your bills. Paying your bills late is the worst juju you can imagine. If you're getting paid late by your clients or your customers and you run accounts, one of the best things you can do is analyze if you're paying your bills on time, and if you're not, start doing it. Watch how other people start to respect the payment of your invoices. So, little hack, not paying your bills on time, stop that right now. It might take you a couple of months to get in the swing. And that's why Module 4 in Sort Your Shit Out is so helpful, because it actually puts you on a cadence for paying your bills until you get back into a nice, even rhythm with everything. But money needs systems. That is the takeaway here is your money needs systems. And when it's got systems, it's got the structure that it loves and the order that it loves. And then it wants to see that you're going to do good in the world. And I did not understand what that meant until a very wise man that I met through a business coaching group over a decade ago now. He sat there and he asked me some questions about what I was going to do with my money once I had enough. At this time, I was newly divorced and I was still trying to grow my coaching business, and there really wasn't enough. And he said, you need to start thinking about how you're going to do good in the world if the universe sends you more money than you need. And I said, well, I'll buy a nice house for me and the kids and we'll live a good life. And he said, no, what about after that? And I said, I'll help my parents. And he said, that's great, but what about after that? When there's still money left over, the universe wants to know what good you're going to do with that. And it was only then that it clicked that benevolence and generosity are actually part of growing wealth. So right then and there, I decided that a percentage of every invoice that we generate in my coaching businesses, so client invoice, a percentage goes to an organization that provides food, shelter, medical care, clean water, education in disadvantaged countries around the world. Every invoice. And once that was in play and my money had structure for the first time ever, so those very same bank accounts that I was just talking about, and I had set up a system to pay myself first, because why, when you're the one taking all the risk and have all the responsibility to have this business in operation, providing wages for people who have families, why would you get paid last? So what you're actually doing is teaching your business to operate off a set amount of money so that you are actually rewarded as the business owner. Now, you can't reward yourself out of alignment with the structure and the funds that are relevant for the size business that you have. Otherwise, you will bankrupt your business. It has to be sustainable and in alignment with the method that I talk about in Module 4. But there's no point being in business if you are not receiving the financial reward you deserve for being the one who takes all the risk. That's what it comes down to. And when you are financially rewarded at the level that I'm talking about, you can start to look strategically at how you can spend money to buy your time. So loving money, loving the money that's coming into your business, loving the clients or customers that you have and the way they come to your business that generates an income for you, putting structure there, putting order there, systems in place, being really clear on how you'll use money to do good in the world. It's one of our hacks for creating time, because it allows us, when we're profitable and we have the right margins and then the right structure for the money, it allows us to hire good people. And when we hire good people and we have good leadership, we can start to have the life and the business owner life we thought we'd have when we first went into business. So there's the concept of collapsing time, and then there's the concept that's a bit more masculine of the systems that we set up to buy time and create time that way. And that's what we've spoken about today. So I really want you to have a think about, well, what systems do I have in place for my money at the moment? And going back a step behind that, do I have no systems because I've got money stories running around? Or is my life partner or business partner overpowering our money dynamic, and that's causing issues? Money stories can be so powerful that they can have you sabotage the financial outcome of your business. I've watched on in horror as a former client that I was able to successfully help recover from 2 financial sabotages, unfortunately, just not be able to get themselves grounded enough to not do it a 3rd time. So money stories can be really, really powerful. And if you're not having the financial result that you want, if it's harder to hang on to your money than you thought, then it's time to dig into the stories, and it's time to look at, do I have any structure? The number one place to look is how you use your bank accounts. And if everything's operating out of one account or 2 accounts, it's not enough. You've got to have intentional accounts for intentional things. And we've got to make the business only run off a certain amount of money. And then when we're good at that, you can run your personal accounts the same way. Okay, that was a lot for day 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out your money beliefs. Check out your structure and your systems for money. And I'll be back with you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I will be very grateful. See you then.